This is Co-op HD1 HD3 Hornsby, radio for people, not for profit. Welcome to Volumes, the Austin Public Library radio show. Each week, we explore how your library is more than books. The library is knowledge, technology, and inspiration for our community. Hey, welcome. We're your hosts today, Kanya Lyons and...
I'm Mike Lee.
And today we're super psyched. We have Sarah Bird on the air, and you can hear her giggling. Welcome, Sarah.
Super psyched.
Super psyched.
I'm
Super psyched. Okay.
No pressure.
Sarah is the author of 9 novels, award-winning novels. She's also a screenwriter, a journalist, and a library fan.
That's almost 10 novels, y'all.
And the biggest thing is, she's immortalized not only by her prolific writing, but as an avatar at the New Central Library. So if you've been to the New Central Library and there's this lady talking to you in English and Spanish, that's Sarah Bird, this awesome author that we have in the co-op studio with us today.
Yeah, I feel like I've got the drop on her that we're close friends because I hang out with her daily and even sometimes have to adjust her.
My question to you is, how do you know
what's right?
The hologram is not here now.
That's true.
Oh my goodness.
Man, she just went meta.
Is this the real Sarah Bird? Yeah.
Oh
Maybe
my
the
gosh.
real Sarah Bird is back at the library telling people about the collection.
So is this the day you announce you're going to start doing sci-fi writing?
Precisely.
So we're gonna talk about kind of like your writing process, maybe a little bit. Talk about the library a little bit, and then maybe towards the end you can tell us about your new project, your newest. You said you just sent the edited manuscript off?
Yeah.
All right, well, let's save that for later.
Yeah.
That's a teaser.
Oh, teaser. Good night.
I'm a quiver with excitement. I shipped that baby off yesterday. I'm a euphoric writer at this
I
point.
bet that's going to be the most magnificent feeling.
It's super great.
Like, I'm done with it.
Yeah. For the moment.
Excellent. Well, we're going to definitely dig into that a little bit later, but let's talk about, so how does it feel to be an avatar at the New Central Library, to have this permanent digital presence?
Well, permanent as long as the Jungle Gym function survives, so I'm told. You know what I love about that whole project and the library in Austin, that the librarians in our city selected not just a woman, but a woman my age to represent the libraries, and I'm so proud of that. So
I guess I am proud, but I guess maybe I'm sad that it feels like you have to be proud about that because you seem like a fine candidate to me by any of those things.
Thank you. But I just think it's just great. That it was a great decision to do those two things. A woman my age, A+.
I agree with you. It's as I'm starting to, become middle-aged, I'm like, wow. Once you're over a certain age, it's like you're
invisible.
Become invisible, and I think that maybe this is starting to change in the world little by little, and this is a piece of that or proof of that.
Let it be so now that it's been said on air. That stuff is over.
Go forth and be visible.
Hire my mother.
Hire my mother. That's great.
I was lucky enough to get to be in the room with you when you were recording that avatar, as we call it.
That was quite a process.
It was.
Speaking of process,
let's talk about that. Was it weird?
First of all, I was asked to do it, and I was going, Avatar? Well, sure. They can make a little drawing of me and put it on something. Little did I know it would involve going in and spending an entire day in the studio, essentially in some kind of Iron Maiden.
Like a straitjacket.
Yeah.
Did they ask you, have you ever posed for a tintype photograph in the 1800s?
That kind of thing. Except, no, it went on all day. And if I moved a fraction of an inch, like a micrometer, then it's like, oh, out of frame. I have to go back and do it again.
Oh,
and
dear.
Not just that line, but the whole thing. But you know what? Loved every second of it, Kanya.
Good.
Because of you.
Well, you had the idea to go and get a butterfly and bring it into the I was like, that's never going to happen.
And it worked.
And you did it.
That's a miracle, a little miracle thing. How a trained butterfly. That was my trained butterfly. Didn't mention
We're
that.
going to add butterfly trainer to the list of things that you do.
Butterfly trainer.
Screenwriter, novelist, butterfly trainer.
Yeah, he's become a caterpillar. No, that's first, right?
Yeah.
Never mind.
So when you're in conversations like this, are you constantly like filing away, like, oh, there's an idea for a book. There's an idea.
Oh God, no.
The caterpillar that
Books
reverses.
do not come out of whims. Let me just.
It's not that
promise
easy?
you. No, it's got to be some incredible driving emotional force. You just got to have this nuclear core to power, because books they're hard.
Yeah.
They take a long time. You could just have to really care, it has to. So,
Well, you've got your vision and your idea, what excites you, but then you've got to think, now, what is the publisher going to want to see? What is the public going to want to
I'm
see?
not saying my next novel is not going to be about an incredibly attractive, bearded host at a co-op radio. I'm not saying that. Just depends on how far down into my emotional water table you manage to sift in the next 5 to 10 minutes.
So
Right.
how many years of writing does it take to get to the end of one novel, one completed novel or manuscript?
Okay. The shortest one I ever wrote was 4 months, in, out.
Ooh la la.
That was very unusual. That was How Perfect Is That, which I wrote out of my incredible spleen about George W. Bush and what was going on in Austin. The longest novel, this is probably the one I just finished, has been gestating the longest, but Flamenco Academy, I wrote 5 different versions of. I mean, it really varies. It really varies.
What about Above the East
Above the East China Sea, that was, the seed was planted in 1970 when I was stationed with my family on the island of Okinawa. And I heard the story of the Princess Lily girls, these Okinawan island girls who were conscripted by the Japanese Imperial Army and made to serve in their cave hospitals. And I was just so taken with these stories of these young, and I mean as young as 12. They plucked these girls out of high school, 12 to 18. And then they were, helping out at amputations and attending to these very, very sheltered girls. And they were helping the Japanese soldiers with all sorts of hygiene issues and starving to death and dying of thirst. And I read a lot of first-person accounts, and just their courage and good humor, I thought the whole world needed to know about them. So, obviously, that took a long time before.
Well, I liked the way that you contrasted the Princess Lily girls with the sort of modern day,
right?
Military family.
That was
young
fun
teenagers.
to do, like 2 really, really different voices, because the Princess Lily girls, there's like the mid-40s and these very sheltered girls, and I wrote, a slightly stilted voice, because just to try to capture some of the innocence of these girls and how sheltered they were. And then today's modern military brat, I had written about my version, my generation of military kids, the kind of Vietnam era, and I wanted to write about contemporary military kids. And so and that was very, very different. Can thank our blessed Austin Public Libraries for all the help in the historical research part.
Yay.
But and the UT libraries. But I really hit a dead end trying to get the kids, how do I research kids on Okinawa, and kind of edgy kids. And so, trolling the internet, and suddenly there's this
Making friends.
Making friends.
A little catfishing on the side.
As I do. No, but this, on YouTube, an entire channel called Planet Oki,
Wow.
dedicated to the hip-hop scene on Okinawa.
Nice.
And so all it was these kids, my age, exactly who I wanted, high school kids on Okinawa, going out, getting high, and talking to the camera.
Yeah.
Talking to the camera, and they're just completely unedited. So that was it. I sat and took notes, and then people, how did you know how those kids spoke? Well, I just spent months research. No, I mean, that would have been ridiculous if I'd gone over there, sat down with these teens and said, hey, hi kids, let's rap.
Yeah.
Let's rap with Granny.
They're like, but she's an American granny. So,
She's an American granny. Yeah, no, thank God for YouTube.
I'm just going to interject real quick. If you're just joining us, this is Volumes, the Austin Public Library radio show, and that is Sarah talking to us. We have details about our show at library.austintexas.gov/volumes. And right now, the show is going out on Co-op 91.7 FM and streaming at koop.org. So when you came and talked to the Austin Public Library staff at our Employee Awards in 2016.
So much fun.
Oh my gosh, you had us all like laughing and so engaged. You kind of talked a little bit about your writing process and like what you were just saying right now. Like you actually go to the library.
Oh
and
God, yeah.
Just check out just mountains and mountains of books.
Oh, mountains of books. It's like, the books are like groceries to me. I mean, they just come in, they go out. I'm just like chewing through them. Much more so since I've started doing historical fiction. That really changed with probably Yokota Officers Club, and in a sort of fundamental way, because prior to that, I just written out of my own experience, and was mostly self-expression kind of thing. And Yokota Officers Club, I originally started off writing that, and it was going to be a funny book. I kind of written books that are considered humorous, the first four previous books. And this, I thought I would write about my 2 weeks in show business when I was in Okinawa, and I won a dance contest, and the prize was 2 weeks in Tokyo as kind of intermission act for this third-rate comedian. I was a go-go girl. And so I was going to write about my 2 weeks as a go-go girl, which were funny. I mean, it was a ridiculously funny experience, completely out of anything. And but then I started writing about it, and I ended up writing about something I care a lot more about, which was my family. And it led me to investigate what my father had done during the war and later when we were stationed on Japan. And this was his reconnaissance work, which had just been declassified. And there in the library, I found books about what the work he had done. So that was my first tippy-toeing into heavy research.
Awesome. Well, we're just getting started with Sarah Bird here at KOOP 91.7 FM on Volumes, but we need to take a quick break to give you some announcements, things that are happening all over town, and we'll be back to speak with Sarah Bird.
My name is Blair Parsons, and I'm a reference librarian at the Central Library. Each week I highlight a few programs for adults that are happening around the Austin Public Library. Our full list of programs may be found on the library's events calendar. Friday night, December 8th, the Carver Branch Library will host the second annual Adult Holiday Craft Crawl. Make crafts, mingle, dance, and nosh. Various craft tables with instructors will be set up along with other holiday cheer. The Adult Holiday Craft Crawl is from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m., Friday, December 8th at the Carver Branch Library. The Central Library, in partnership with Austin Classical Guitar, will host Joseph Palmer for a holiday guitar concert Sunday, December 10th. The concert will be at 2 o'clock in the Central Library's demonstration area. The holiday concert series concludes Sunday, December 17th with a performance by the Austin Community Guitar Ensemble.
Hey there, Austin. Teen Program Specialist Michael Harley from the Downtown Central Library here. Looking for something to do with friends and family as the holidays draw near? The new Central Library's teen area is keeping holiday spirits up with Tabletop Tuesday, every Tuesday evening from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Teens can choose from 60 board games, including classics like Clue, Risk, and Yahtzee, new laugh-out-loud party games like Sushi Go, One Night Werewolf, and Secret Hitler, and longer adventures like Arkham Horror, Settlers of Catan, and Tokaido. If the whole family comes along, all ages are welcome to grab a game and play together in the third-floor atrium. The next Tabletop Tuesday is happening December 12th from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the new Central Library. More details for these and additional programs can be found at library.austintexas.gov/events.
This is Ann Minner, Managing Librarian at the Old Quarry Branch. I get to highlight some information for the whole family this week. Local group Austin Orchestra will give a live performance of their ukulele repertoire Sunday, December 10th from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. The ukulele group, conducted by Kevin Carroll, will be performing at Recycled Reads, the Austin Public Library used bookstore at 5335 Burnett Road. This show is recommended for the whole family. That's Sunday, December 10th from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. at the Recycled Reads bookstore. Details about live music and other performances at the Austin Public Library are at library.austintexas.gov/events.
Need an easy and fast way to get rid of an old car, truck, or boat you no longer want hanging around? Call Co-op's car donation program and we'll take it off your hands. Benefits include free pickup of your vehicle, no more gas guzzling, and a tax receipt for your donation. Just call 877-750-KOOP and we'll take care of the rest. That number again is 877-750-KOOP or 877-750-5667 to help Co-op today.
You're listening to Volumes, the Austin Public Library radio show on Co-op 91.7 FM and KOOP.org. Radio for people, not for profit.
This is Joe,
Martha,
and Lisa,
co-hosts of Writing on the Air.
do you like to read?
Do you like to write?
We do too, and we love bringing you the best authors and other creative types from Texas and beyond.
Listen to Writing on the Air every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Central Time.
Voted Best Book Discussion in the Austin Chronicle's 2015 Best of Austin.
Wednesday at 6 o'clock p.m.
on 91.7 FM
or KOOP.org.
Hey there, welcome back, Co-op listeners. This is Volumes, the Austin Public Library radio show on Co-op 91.7 FM and streaming at koop.org. Today we have Sarah Bird, who is an amazing author of 9 award-winning novels. She's working on her 10th, and a screenwriter and a journalist. And before we went to those announcements, we were talking about your writing process and whatnot. So now let's get into this new manuscript. Let's talk about how it came to be. And,
oh my God, that's a long story.
Yeah, when did you conceive this baby? What is the gestation period?
Yeah, like the easy ones and the hard ones. This is absolutely the hardest book I ever wrote. I first heard this story that this book is based on in the early 80s. I came out of photojournalism department at UT, and I was doing a project about offbeat rodeos, like kids rodeos, girls rodeos, chariadas, but the most fun ones were the African-American rodeos. And at one Juneteenth rodeo in, I believe it was Bastrop, though it could have been El Campo or Egypt or Plum, I was told a story about a slave woman who, after the Civil War, looked around at all the really fabulous options available to a freed slave and woman and disguised herself as a man and served for 2 years in the Buffalo Soldiers.
Oh.
So I think, probably because I grew up in the military, or for various reasons, and my mother was also a warrior. She was a nurse in World War II, so I grew up on her stories about the biggest party America ever threw, World War II. This just seized me. I felt like I understood. I mean, I certainly understood why a woman would do that. This was in the era before the internet, so I came home and tried to research it and could not find a single mention of this happening. So I assumed the story was one of those stories that we wish it were true, but it was not true. Forgot about it until I was pregnant with my one and only child. And our childbirth teacher was a wonderful, fabulous woman named Pam Black, who taught at predominantly black kindergarten and was always on the lookout for stories for her kids. And so she came up to me and said, "Sarah, you're a novelist." I go, "Well, I try." She said, I have a story you have to write. You have to write the story of this slave woman after the Civil War. I said, "Stop. It's apocryphal. I love that story too, but not true." Next class, she came with copies of Kathy Williams' enlistment papers, her
Oh.
discharge paper, her application for pension, and an article written in 1876 in the St. Louis Times. So that just seized my imagination.
How awesome you guys ran into each other.
Pardon?
How awesome it is that you two found each other.
I know. Isn't that magical?
Yeah.
There's so much about this project, and I'm like the least woo-woo person you will meet, but there's so much of it is so woo-woo and strangely meant to be, and at some level I just surrender to the force that is Kathy
Had no
Williams.
choice, yeah.
And so I thought, I really wanted to write it. I write first person, and I had a lot of hesitation about, as a white woman, taking the story of this black woman and doing it first person. And so instead of that, I ended up writing it as a screenplay, which everybody loved this screenplay because inadvertently I had done the one thing that television ate alive, and that is the strong female character.
Right.
And do they come much stronger than a female Buffalo Soldier? I think not.
No.
So I had 10 years as a screenwriter pretty much based on this script, but it never got made. So put it aside. I felt like I had not fulfilled my obligation to Kathy, and that the world needed to know her story, and I, for whatever reason, was supposed to have done it, and I didn't do it. Then Meryl Streep had a contest for female screenwriters over the age of 40, and I slipped under that deadline by 25 years. So I submitted my screenplay, got in, and worked with the screenplay, again, with some producers and directors and whatnot, and just fell in love with it. I just said, I love this story. And possibly I'll make some people unhappy if I tell the story, but it has to be told. And at that point, I was 65. And I said, I cannot. Kathy will be very unhappy if I go to my grave without telling her story. So I began writing it as a novel. That is the one that's coming out next fall.
Awesome.
And so just to be clear, the name of it is Daughter of a Queen. And it's from your new publisher, St. Martin's. And
yeah. That was its own journey. It's like a lot of publishing stuff you don't need to know about. But I love St. Martin's. They're wildly enthusiastic. And my new editor is Monique Patterson, and she's African American, which gives me a sense of support as far as having an extra pair of eyes on the sensitivities that I possibly might not be aware of. Mm-hmm. So that was a godsend, yet another godsend.
Yeah, and continuing that serendipityness of weird coincidences.
Yeah, when I was
made you know you were on the right path.
During the period when I was resisting, I went out to dinner with this friend of mine who kind of was known to have psychic powers, which I just going, yeah, sure. And so we're eating, and it got late, and her eyes kept flickering up, and I was going, oh, God, don't do the effing eye flickering
Not here.
stuff. Like, I'm not, that's not for me. And then she said, Sarah, did you lose someone in your life, a fair amount of time ago? I go, yeah, probably.
Probably all my ancestors.
As well as every other human on earth. And she goes, no, I'm sorry. There's someone behind you, a woman behind you, and she wants something from you. And that gave me chills because I knew immediately what she was talking about without believing in what she was talking about. And and she said, I don't know if this makes any sense to you or not, but I see silver doors opening at the top of your head and her pouring something into it. And I was going, and that's when I wrote the screenplay, and it says, close in experiences I've ever had to automatic writing.
Wow.
It just, I just didn't doubt it. I said, I don't know. It just feels like the story Kathy wants me to tell. And based on the documentation, I could not have written a non-historical. Nobody could read, a nonfiction, could not write a nonfiction book about this because there is so little documentation about Kathy and about the Buffalo Soldiers in general. So,
is this the first piece of work you felt that profound push forward?
I had moments during Yokota Officers Club when I felt that, but to kind of have a whole story plop into my head the way this did, and it also had to do with writing it as a screenplay because you don't have to fill up a piece of paper from
Right.
edge to edge. You do dialogue, you do stage description, and it goes much faster. Kind of lends itself
I feel like
to...
you make the story more accessible to more people too as screenplay.
That was the way I felt.
Yeah.
That was the way I felt, like the particularly young woman that I really want to know this story possibly would have a better chance of learning about it through a movie than through a book. So who knows? Maybe at some point it'll still get made.
I mean, going from the point where you're doing research and you couldn't find any factual stuff, and then somebody you meet by chance hands you hard copies of facts about this woman.
Yeah.
And how did she even get that stuff? Like, had she been at the archive, or?
She was very smart. She's a very smart woman, and she got in touch with Mary Davis, a woman out at Fort Davis. Am I getting her name wrong? Anyway, her name is Mary, and she used to be kind of the head archivist out at Fort Davis. Mm-hmm. And I believe Pam just went and asked her for stories for her kids about African-American heroes that she could write about. And she said, well, you probably should write about Kathy Williams. And she's going, oh, yeah? And so that was where it started. And then she sent away to the National Archives the military records and got proof.
Oh, wow. And so Fort Davis, that's where the Buffalo soldiers were stationed, right?
Yeah,
that was their home base. So,
that was their headquarters. Very good. Very good. Yes, I put Kathy there in my novel. In fact, she was stationed in southern New Mexico, but I changed a little bit of the history, but mostly tried to stick to what was known, what little was known.
And so this has been shipped.
Yes.
The edited manuscript shipped out. You're like, done? You're like,
there was one little
melting
glitch.
in your chair.
There was one little glitch. I mean, not to get too, inside baseball writerly.
Oh, we love that.
Yeah. But completely by surprise. I didn't know they were editing it. This book has moved along so much faster than any of my previous novels. I was taken by surprise when in the mail I get the copy edited manuscript. Mm-hmm. Okay, this is a surprise for a number of reasons. Number one, I hadn't expected it. Number two, I haven't seen a paper manuscript for my last 5 novels. I was like, paper? What is this? What do you this substance? Like you can touch it and things.
It doesn't hurt your
mark
eyes.
on it. Yeah. No, I just had. Once blessed track change entered my life, I was a convert. As far as editing, and that's a program you use to edit track changes with Word. Makes it vastly easier. But they somehow had forgotten to ask me which one I preferred, and maybe just since I'm old, they assumed that I preferred hand, and so I got this massive 400-page manuscript that I then have spent the last several weeks burning my eyes out, squiggling, you got to write all the changes in the margin, like really tiny handwriting, then you erase and go, I don't want to say it that way, you erase, and I don't want to say it that way, you erase again, so, I'm burning through the paper. It was a pain. A pain in the popo, since we can't say any other word on it.
Yeah. You've got words.
Okay, the ultimate pain. Instead of hitting click send, I had to take it, and it's been so long since I've mailed something overnight,
Where's the post office?
So I went, no, not the post office, UPS. I used to send in, I would FedEx manuscripts in, long ago. And it was $20, and I thought that was pretty expensive. It was $100.
Oh, my goodness. Wow, well, they better reimburse you for that. So we're actually kind of out of time.
Sadly.
I wish we weren't. Can you tell us quickly when the book comes out?
September 2018.
And did we mention the title yet?
Next fall. Pardon?
We mentioned it, but we can mention it again.
Daughter of a Queen.
Sweet.
Yeah.
September 2018, St. Martin's Publisher.
Yes.
And it'll be anywhere that books are sold, and I'm sure the library will get it. We're out of time. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Details about the show are at library.austintexas.gov.
I love Austin Library.
Thank you, Sarah. We love you.
We love you so much. And
I'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks to everybody. We'll see y'all next week. We'll hear y'all. Y'all will hear us. I don't know. Bye. Thanks for listening to Volumes, the Austin Public Library radio show. Special thanks to our producer, DJ Harris, and to the musicians who composed and performed our original theme song, Andrew Noble on violin, Kirk Duvall on guitar, and Mike Wheat on percussion. And thanks to you, our listeners. Volumes, the Austin Public Library radio show, airs Wednesday afternoons at 2:30 on Co-op 91.7 FM and koop.org. If you catch us mid-show, full episodes and other details can be found at library.austintexas.gov/volumes.